Hello, you beautiful and wondrous beings, Orion star seeds, or those of you that at least are really tapped in to your multidimensionality and you know that there is an Orion thread, there is an arc of your story, a pyramid perhaps, or perhaps three pyramids that really represent your Orion self, that really represent your connections to this part of the sky, this part of the cosmos, and I'm hearing this part of the future of Earth, which I like to call New Earth. I like to call, I like to call this journey the spiral, or you could say the shell, right? The turtle shell, the conch, this spiraling energy of just when you think it's gotten you somewhere, just when you think you've arrived somewhere, you quickly realize that's part of the illusion, that's part of the fun of it all. And I'm just gonna bring in the cacao already, because I've been drinking, I've been tuning in, I've been feeling this immense desire to share what is alive in my body, to share what is alive in the medicine of cacao, as I've been communing with her for the past few days. And so I'm gonna just ask you to take a few breaths with me here, actually, very intentionally. Close your eyes if it feels good. Let's slow it down intentionally. Let us bring our hearts to the forefront, our dragon hearts, our Orion heart portal. I'm hearing the keys of Orion. Let's bring this forward with the breath. Let's bring the awareness here. And I'm inviting the spirit of Ish Cacao, as I know her in her dragon form. I'm calling her to be present throughout this transmission. I feel she is highly, highly, highly calibrating the Orion star seeds. She's highly calibrating the times that are these liminal spaces, these portals between what was and what will be, between inception and total transformation and reemergence. She's a bridge for the rainbow serpent, the rainbow dragon codes to really rain down on humanity and all creatures and all beings and all spirit, everything that is inspirited, everything that is full of God's source on this planet. So that includes everything that is alive, everything that is of life. Now, you may be thinking, or maybe if your mind took you there, or maybe just my mind is taking me there, so I can reflect this to the collective. Take another breath here. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. This time, hold it at the top. Hold your breath. Tongue to the roof of your mouth. Visualize the eye of the storm in your third eye. What does the eye of the storm mean to you? And then don't attach and release the breath. And back to normal breathing. hand on the heart, maybe sip on your cacao if you were able to make some. And let's get into this full-on transmission that just feels like it is alive for the times. It is alive for the now. It is alive for the new that is incoming, that is imminent. I actually feel really called to share 4 cards initially for this Orion energy that is your transitional message between Year of the Dragon and Year of the Serpent. I was going to say in the Maya time. In Chinese astrology, we are being handed over by primordial dragon energy, by some of the biggest creational beings that have been a part of this spiral of life, that have been a part of even the experiment or the experience of Earth within the greater solar system that we know, and the greater galaxy that is the Milky Way, and so on and so forth. The cards are really pointing to a point of conflict, a point of storm. So I'm going to show you this Sagittarius card where we see this grand storm in the sky. We see very, very little that we actually recognize as like our earthly atmosphere. So a little teeny bit of blue sky here, but everything else just seems like, wow, where is that? Is that even Earth? Is that somewhere that we've known before? Is it a storm, an electrical storm that is on its way? Is it something that's already brewing inside of us? There's lightning, there's desert sands, there's actually a purple energy that I didn't notice the last time I pulled this card, which was actually for the Syrian collective. So there seems to be a thread with Sirius with this particular card coming out again, because I have 12 constellations. Your constellation, Sagittarius, is the season that we're in while I'm recording this. In True Sky Astrology, we are in the storm. We are in the eye of the storm. We are in some grand, greater design of timing. And it can be frustrating when we see things that challenge, or we feel things that we have felt before in some way, shape, or form in our other incarnations. I'm going to bring in the Mars card. Perhaps on Mars, perhaps in other worlds that were destroyed, or where extraction was a huge part of the, part of the plan of the planet, of how they felt. It could be the Orions. It could be another, maybe slightly more nefarious group of extraterrestrials or interdimensionals from various planets, from various star systems, that just really took on this conquering energy, like a collective of conquerors, like a collective of extractors. What I'm seeing with this Mars card, what I'm seeing with this Sagittarius energy, these are two fiery frequencies. Sagittarius is a fire sign. It's a holy fire. It's actually a fire that really connects us to our spirituality, to wanting to seek beyond what we know, to really pass the horizon and set ourselves out on an adventure, kind of like the Fool energy of like, I'm going out and I follow my intuition, and I have, 4 hooves on the ground, because the Sagittarius energy is the archetype of the centaur. So he's got 4 feet on the ground, 4 hooves on the ground, and he's looking up. He's looking up to, or she is looking up to the heavens, the arrow pointing at the highest realms. And so this energy is one of, I'm not afraid to go out, I'm not afraid to discover, I'm not afraid to even face something that could be terrifying like this. If it means that I'm provided with answers, if it means that I receive truth back in my body, if it means that I can neutralize this war energy or neutralize this desire to constantly take that which was never mine to take in the first place. So with that, how do the Orions come in? If I'm saying this feels like another group, I feel at some point this group arrived to the Orion constellation. And the Orion constellation is vast. It was vast, it still is vast. And they kind of convinced a certain, whether it was a certain star in Orion, a certain planet, a certain group in Orion. I'm getting these reptile kind of feelings, like they convinced a certain group to join their faction. And it's almost like they were recruiting warriors. They were recruiting the best of Orion's nebula, of Orion's star system, and they kind of tricked them for glory. We're gonna go out into other parts of the universe and we're gonna take, and we're gonna become well known, and we're gonna be remembered. I'm feeling this like Troy energy, this energy of battle, this energy of when you want something that's not yours, when you want some land that's not yours. In the Troy analogy, he wants the woman that's not his, Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world. And there's something to this, because it's almost like it's plagued humanity for eons and eons and eons, and it lives on in our DNA. There's remembrance of that taking. There's remembrance in Orion starseeds of that never being satisfied with what God's source, came with. And it's interesting because with the serpent energy that I've been feeling, with the serpent fire, specifically fire once again, that I've been feeling into for the past couple days with Orion, it was really, really crucial for me to sit down and record today, because there's been a buildup of energy here physically where I'm located in the globe, which is where I was born, Los Angeles, California. And there's destruction, there's stormy skies, there is an eye, like an eye that's a bit more nefarious. It's not the good kind of eye. It's more like the Big Brother eye. And I'm actually going to show you like the kind of pyramid energy here in the Mars card. It's kind of like that Illuminati. It's kind of like that, just that energy of there is an eye that is trying to decide things, that is trying to tip the scale in the direction that serves their agenda, not the agenda of the planet, not the agenda of the starseeds ready for New Earth, not the agenda of the dragons, not the agenda of basically the majority of us. The majority of us are already in a frequency. If you're watching this, you are already in a frequency where you're not that warrior. You're not that, sad kind of being that is, again, so unsatisfied, like dissatisfied with life, dissatisfied with existence, bored even. I'm getting this energy of like, I'm just so bored, let me go fuck shit up kind of energy, like let me go destroy a planet. And it's interesting because none of the other recordings I've done so far had this energy. So this energy is being brought up for the Orions because we are master alchemists. We are master transmutational beings. our DNA, our spine, our heart, all of these places are places where our alchemical power can be stoked, can be lit, and can become the greatest source of what we so wish to call in here, which is the new beginning. The new beginning for Earth, the new beginning for humanity, the new beginning for Serpent Year. We have the new moon, a dark moon. The new moon signifies obviously an initiation point, like a point of beginning. I'm being brought back to that full energy. It's like I'm gonna get something going here. And the Orions are really doing it through the serpent power, through the power of alchemy, through being the balancing point, through being the tempering frequency, the tempering collective. You might be wondering, what do you mean tempering? Tempering means you balance it the fuck out. Tempering means if it's too hot, you add more wood, you add more water, you add more of something, you add more sand. You add something to bring down whatever the thing is that you want to bring down. So if you want to bring the fire down, if you want to bring the wind down, there is something to temper that, and it would be actually focusing on the opposite element. So fire and water are really, really beautiful frequencies to work with that tempering energy. And I'm going to show you the Temperance card. The Temperance card came out in the tarot deck Serpentine Fire for you. Now, it was the last of 4 cards. This is like the biggest message. We have these 2 obelisks with 2 wolves with wings. One wolf is white with black wings. One wolf is black with white wings. So they really are polar frequencies. They really are representing duality, like these 2 towers, like this 2 trees, these 2 humans. Again, 2 towers. Let's go with 2 towers, because an obelisk is like a tower. And then the space in between. So what I'm getting here is there is a desire to be the friction, the creation, the energy in between the 2 poles. So we have the human here sitting in the meditative pose with all of these chakras lit, with all this light rising above, basically from her head, rising all the way up to this ball of light here, which could be, you could say it's a sun, you could say it's a star, might be the soul star chakra. And the electrical charge, basically like the creation, right? When we have a battery and you have the positive and the negative, what is the space in between? It's what makes the charge. It's what makes the camera, the phone, the laptop, whatever the thing, function, have a life, have a lifespan. And the Orion starseeds are here to really be those batteries, to really be the lifespan of the new earth, of the new beginning, of the new trajectory. The one that isn't focused on the literal fire. They're focused on the internal fire. The internal fires, meaning raising the serpents, meaning raising the kundalini. So I'm going to bring you to this card, which also came out for the Syrian starseed reading. King of Wands, with this powerful kundalini serpent rising from the body, literally from the base of the spine all the way up and out of the crown of this human. With the polar energies of sun and moon, with the balancing energy, with the tempering energy. If you have too much sun, you add a little bit of night. If you have too much night, you add a little bit of light, you add a little bit of sun, you know. And it's not like you could ever even have too much sun or too much moon. I'm just saying it's like a metaphor. It's just a frequency, it's just a stream. So just take that for what it is. King of Wands energy is inherently creational, just as Queen of Wands energy is creational. This is the power of passion. This is the power of fire. This is the power of putting ideas and feelings and emotions and thoughts and putting it all, and breath, putting it all into practice, and stillness and devotion and cacao communion and whatever the thing is that lights you up, but putting that into a practice so that you see the results in real time, the tempering of what's going on in the greater collective, the tempering, for instance, of these fires in California, of these fires in Los Angeles, these fires that are creating all over again this disaster energy, this despair, this loss, this confusion energy. And I'm going to show you the two cards here that represent that. A lot of emotions. 5 of Cups, water. 7 of Cups, water. Emotions, emotions, emotions. But there's Cups cards that are really on the positive end of the spectrum of emotions, like emotional fulfillment, emotional intelligence. These two happen to be on the other end of the spectrum, where it's like emotional drowning, like drowning in your disappointment, drowning in the sense of loss. 7 of Cups, drowning in confusion, being a bit frozen with all that incoming energy, with all that incoming charge. Remember, going back to the card where if you only realize that charge is you, and you are the charge of the of the proton and the electron. So you are the charge. You are that balancing point. You are the temperance point. And as an Orion starseed, you're actually the tipping point. We are the tipping point. All the starseeds are. But the reason this reading is actually really close to my heart is because there is something about the serpents and the dragons that is being purified, that is coming down and is purifying the earth, and it's coming through Orion. What a lot of us have thought and have felt and have read about and have remembered and have been told about Orion just being this nefarious collective, this energy of, okay, great innovation, but also they fuck shit up. That's not the whole story. This is the year. This is the time. This is the now moment where you get to decide, are you going to hold the space for people to remember the whole story? Are you going to embody the electricity, the flame, the holy fire, the serpentine fire? I'm not kidding. Like this oracle deck is called Serpent Fire, and this came to me last year. And I bought it in the region of LA that is now fucking on fire. Like this cannot be a coincidence. This cannot be. I feel called to pick a couple more tarot cards while we're actually live. I want to see, what do the serpents of light that I work with, what do the Christ Sophia serpents, I'm hearing Oraphim, I'm hearing Seraphim, what do these beings want us to know? What do these realms want us to know about the importance of Orion starseeds stepping up in the year of the serpent? Yes, 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 the Fool card. What I was saying. The Fool card with the Page of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So here is that fire energy. In this case, it's fireworks, it looks like. it's just utter connection to your creative potential, to getting something going. Like the page is what gets something going. It's not necessarily the going, it's more like the idea. It's the initial spark. Then the horse, right? Then the knight would be moving with that energy, right? Moving with that energy. Then the queen would be embodying that energy. And then the king would kind of be the energy of like just fucking mastery. I'm just in that frequency, in that vibe, and that is me. So Page of Wands at the bottom. Your ideas, your ability to create, your ability to alchemize has everything to do with moving your ass on the planet this year. Has to do with travel, has to do with going on the land, has to do with being on the earth in prayer. You're gonna see serpents on the earth. If you're in the right places with an open heart, with a pure heart, you're gonna see and connect with serpents in a way that you didn't even know was possible. They're gonna be coming out of the woodworks looking for us. And it's exciting, and I'm at the same time like terrified. I haven't seen a serpent in California since I was like in Santa Barbara. I want to say in my early 20s, like we're talking about over 15 years ago. I have not seen a serpent in California. And I'm getting this feeling like this is the year where the serpents are gonna be reaching for us. The literal serpents, as well as the beautiful, like collective, like the greater collective of where this serpentine energy, where the serpentine fire, where the serpents of light emanates from and originates from. And this is important because I work a lot with sound. I work a lot with the frequencies, and in the past couple of days I've been working with Orion, Orion, Oriana, Oriana, Oro. Oro is gold. Oriana is like the name of a princess that's associated with light, frequencies, gold, gems. And then we have the Oraphim now coming in, which again, I know it's I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it here. What an Oraphim is, because this is just coming in the stream, and I'm not thinking about explaining what it is. It's just like, that's the message. Here's what it is. It's part of the angelic hierarchy, as are the seraphim. And the seraphim I know a little bit more about because I've been working with that energy for longer. But the Oraphim to me has to do with oracling, the oracles, the pure streams of God, of origin, of Kundalini fire. The realms where that fire is alive and well and has advanced so many different types of civilizations, so many different types of beings already, including humans on other planetary systems. Because if you think Earth is the only place that has humans, you're wrong. You're behind, you know, like, or you've forgotten. Okay, let's just say you've forgotten if you think Earth is the only place that has humans. So my suggestion, my heartfelt advice for the Orion star seeds is be the unicorn. So I said that the Fool energy was being brought up, and then the Fool card comes out, and the Fool card is the beginning. It's the beginning of the major arcana in the tarot deck. So you are on this new beginning. You are on this leap. You are leaping off the the abyss. You're leaping off this beautiful waterfall, but there's this interesting kind of like box, like the geometric of it is just like an illusion, right? It's not how water actually is. It's not really natural. It's this box. So you're leaping out of the box. You are leaping so far out of the box, out of the realm of what you thought was, I guess, your purpose or your joy or your bliss, or you're just gonna find that there is so much more bliss, there is so much more devotional, like impulse, devotional calls that are going to take you to the places where you can be this unicorn. Can be this unicorn out there living, like living, and bringing down those frequencies of change, transformation at a more rapid rate in the year of the serpent. Ooh, yeah, it's been an emotional couple of days because I've been tuning into this California piece, and I'm like, am I here at this time because I need to speak on this, or am I just here holding the frequency because everybody else is going to be so loud speaking about this? Everybody else is going to feel, even at the farthest distances on the planet, they're going to have an opinion. They're going to have these this kind of, again, this extraction energy where they're extracting something from this situation, from this traumatic moment or this moment of confusion and loss. And what are they extracting? They're extracting energy. They're extracting attention seeking, almost like derailing what is even possible for people from California, from Los Angeles, quite literally the city of the angels, the Oraphim, the Seraphim, the dragons, the serpents of light, the humans. We are part of the angelical hierarchy. We are part of the angelical hierarchy. We have just forgotten this. And so I've been emotional because I've been trying to decide, like, to speak up or not to speak up, to hold the frequency and keep doing the underground work, keep going unseen, or showing up in my full power and telling people what I've been fucking doing for years. What many of us here have been doing for years, holding a frequency against great odds, against great waves of mass destruction, mass distraction, and mass extraction. Destruction, distraction, and extraction. These lands are a part of my blood. My family's been here since the early 1900s. Just before the fire started, I had been falling in love with these other parts of California, which include the desert and the islands off of Long Beach, which are 19 miles away from the coast of California at Los Angeles. We have our own Dragon Islands, and I talk a lot about this Dragon Island in the other two starseed readings, the Venus starseed reading, the Sirian starseed reading. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, and if you resonate with those starseed collectives, please dive into that. Please get into those transmissions, because these transmissions are activations. They are activating your power. They are activating your electricity. They are activating your fire. Even through my tears, even through the element of water. And before I picked the cards, I wrote this down in my phone, because this is what I was feeling with the analogy of the fire and the alchemical balance to that, which is the element of water. Tempering the literal fires with spiritual waters, that's alchemy. I'm going to say it again. Tempering the literal, physical, tangible fires that are taking place on this planet. Because they haven't just been in California. They haven't just been in Los Angeles. They've been worldwide. in the year of the dragon. This is just where they're happening now because this is the root chakra of the planet. California holds the root chakra in Mount Shasta. And California as a part of the greater system of the chakra system of the dragon, Gaia Pachamama, our host mother planet, she works like this grand being, much like us, with her points, right? Her power points. And just because Mount Shasta is in the very north of the country doesn't mean that at nearly the southernmost point of the country, the southernmost point of the state. And so this is not a mistake that I called California a country. California has always held this energy of being apart from the rest of the United States. There is something about the sovereignty, the golden light, the connection to angels, and the utter inheritance and abundance that is a part of us if we choose to remember that California holds these codes and always has and always will. No matter what shit comes through here, she will regenerate. Fire also regenerates. This is something that I wrote in my phone in April of last year, 2024, when Guatemala was experiencing its fires when I was living there. Fire also regenerates, and it just so happened to be in the time where I was making my way to these sacred Mayan temples full of serpents, serpent symbology, literal serpents. The serpent that showed up on the day of the serpent in the Maya calendar when we were walking miles and miles and miles in the dark of night to be at the top of the temple. And I'm going to put a photo here at the top of the temple of the serpent or the dragon. They call it the pájaro serpiente. They have different names for it. We have different names for it in like the Maya and Mexico. Generalizing here, it's a dragon. It's a serpent with wings. It's an ascended version of the serpent that came down here to be an animal, to be a reptile. And so there are no mistakes. These are parallels. I wrote in my phone, fire also regenerates. And I was feeling the fire in my body. I was feeling the fire in the lands. It was hard to breathe. My kidneys were hurting because I wasn't drinking proper spring water like I can here in California. I was drinking poor, lifeless bottled water, which is a huge part of the journey going forward is going to be the restoration of water. If California gets to regenerate, if California gets to choose regeneration even through destruction, then I foresee the waters being one of the most blessed, abundant inheritance pieces that those of us from these lands that have been working with her, that have been holding the frequency for this timeline of change, for this decade of the 2020s, and for the future of this entire planet, from the root up. From the root up. That's going to be our reward. The restoration of our rivers, the restoration of just everything that has to do with life, flow, our money systems, our relationships, the way that we circulate everything, resources, the way that we circulate energy and love, connection, you know? These themes are going to be so prevalent in your field in the year of the serpent. And so I want to just invite you to close out the year of the dragon. The year of the dragon is going to pretty much end in and around January 29th when the Lunar New Year celebrations begin. But 2 weeks after the 29th of January is actually when the serpent year begins. Now this is something kind of tricky because you'll get a lot of people being like, and I did this last year, Chinese New Year, so the dragon year starts on this day. But technically the celebrations begin on that day of the new year, but 2 weeks from then is when the dragon year began. And so this year, 2 weeks from January 29th, and I'm gonna find you the date because I think this is really important. It will be the 12th of February. How beautiful. Okay, 12th of February. I like that. I already have something written down on my calendar on the 12th of February because I'm actually working for this beautiful project that's going to involve the Mayan calendar, that's going to involve a lot of this golden work, this work with the Venusian stream. So do check out the Venusian starseed video if this sounds interesting. And that particular day is the day of honey. It's the day of the human and the day of honey in the Maya calendar. So if that is the actual day that serpent year begins, this is going to be a powerful, blessed, like utterly oozing and goozing honey, dripping honey for us as the Orion star seeds. So my recommendation for you to close out Dragon New Year is to actually spend some time alone. If you could spend some time in solitude, as the card says, it's time to take a step back, allow the universe to assume control. And she's actually at the waters, she's at the ocean, she's in the sand. Take some time to yourself, feel into this energy, feel into your serpent power, feel into your dragon power, also like getting you electrified for another version of the power of this year, but in a different form. Just as we move from the archetype of the Fool with his little sad little soggy little bag hanging from a wooden pole, and he's not sad about it. He's actually pretty excited to go out on this adventure. He doesn't know all that he's going to encounter. He doesn't know the half of it. He's just like freedom and a spark in his eye and a fire lit in his heart. Maybe he's been charging up. He's got that electrical charge. He's been with, the dance, the poles, and he's decided, I'm going out. And he doesn't know all that he's gonna encounter before the archetype completes as the energy of the world. The whole freaking world, the whole planet Earth, Gaia Pachamama, the dragon herself. So what a transformation. And archetypes could be something that could be important for you this year, to explore with your serpent energy, to explore and, create things from all of the versions of you that you have access to, and new versions of you that you will pretty soon have access to, because it's coming. It's coming online now. I have a couple of grid locations from the Earth Power Oracle that I wanted to share. The first one that came out is in Emeland Leshan, Mount Emei, China. I was right. Okay, Land of the Dragons. China could be really important for you this year. Not necessarily to travel to, more the principles, more the kind of archetypes that come out of China. So think of meditative energies, maybe energetics, Tai Chi, obviously Buddhism, we think of that. Practices that have to do with really raising your frequency. The card says, I seek enlightenment. I am calmly above it all. The tangible and intangible meet within me. And I love that last part because that reminds me of the obelisks the poles and what is in between, which I said was the electricity. So the tangible and the intangible meet within me. And within the obelisks, right in the middle, is where the meditative person is, who matches the meditative Buddha on top of this grid location, on top of this sacred site, which is associated with enlightenment, clarity, peace, beauty, and calm. The elements air and water. One of the 4 sacred mountains of China, Mount Emei, is a place of enlightenment in the Buddhist faith. So it could be that you are going to connect with an amazing, holy high, right? When we think of mountains, holy mountain energy, higher chakras, crown chakra energy, and then you bring that down through your serpents and you ground it and you root it here on earth. And I wanted to read this part to you because it says, it just jumped off the page. I saw the word river. I'm like, gotta read that. It is in a special place within sacred geography, facing the holy mountain, and having been created in front of the confluence of the Mingjiang, Dadu, and Tsingyi rivers. 3 rivers, the confluence of 3 rivers. So again, your journey this year has to do with water as well. Last grid card is Egypt, Valley of the Kings. Death is transformation. Death is transformation. Death is transformation. Let that one move around in your body. It is a natural part of life. There are consequences to all actions, no matter how small. Valley of the Kings, full of secrets, full of frequencies to be discovered, energetically, perhaps physically, perhaps just you really linking with the remembrance of royal energy. So something I like to point out about this card is that the energy feels very masculine. It's very much that green kind of light of like Osiris. It has nothing to do with the site of Osiris, but because that's a separate site in Egypt. But because it kind of has this energy of Horus at the top, with Ra, and then it says Valley of the Kings, which in reality is the Valley of the Kings and the Queens. But somehow we just dropped the feminine. So I want to invite you to feel into death is transformation, and what's going to actually die is that overarching dominant, males get to be remembered, and the kings get to be remembered, and the politicians and the presidents get to be remembered and talked about long after they're dead. We're transforming that. We're alchemizing the shit out of that because it's time for women. It's time for us as divine feminine representations of God in the vessel, in the body of a woman. To just take our space, to play our role. And the role isn't smaller than. The role is this. Equal to. Proton, electron, neutron. Like the pyramid, right? Emperor, Empress, divine child. Isis, Osiris, divine child. Yeshua, Magdalene, divine child. God, humanity, creations, planets, worlds, galaxies, etc., etc. So I hope this reading has been really, really, inspiring for you. It has been for me. It can be strange to do a reading where there's a really strong emotional charge that pushes you to share what is alive, but I allow myself to be the vessel of God, and I know that my service is pure. And even if I'm charged emotionally, even if I feel so deeply, that's part of the power. That's part of the power that I carry. So I'm going to leave you with this. Valley of the Kings, and then we have Lady of the Stars. Lady of the Stars, priestesses, priestess of Sirius. So there's definitely an Orion counterpart energy with the Sirian collective. It's like they're working so deeply, so closely in this year of the serpent. Maybe you can see that it looks really fiery all around her, but it's a cosmic fire. She's like not on Earth. That's the cosmos. It's all lit by these suns and nebula and planets. And again, Sirius is known as our spiritual sun. So to counter the physical fires, you can either turn to the spiritual waters or the spiritual fire. Become the alchemist. Remember, you already came here as that. And you are so powerful and you are so connected that you will move through the grid in a way that is going to feel more supported than ever. Even if you haven't been one to travel before, this is your year. Like, this is your year to see the planet, okay? I love you all. We will connect soon. Read this. Look in the description for some inspiring music in the realms of fire and transmutation. I'm going to include a playlist. I have a few things coming up for the collective of women, divine feminines that want to work with their passions, their devotion, their power. It's going to be in the realms, like I said, of a Venus stream and offering, and I'm hoping to get all of that together for you so you can just stream on in. Check back, send me a message if you would like to. Send me a message on Instagram if you would like to just drop me your email and be like, I want to get that in my inbox, I want to know more. It's going to be collaborative in nature, not only with the cosmos, but with the earth grids, the dragons and the serpents of earth, the Oraphim and the Seraphim, the planetary consciousness of Venus, and also with some powerful sisters that will come and co-create and share their magic in the space of however many months it ends up being. So with that, I leave you all. Blessings.